In the summer of 1994, 4 teens entered an abandoned building in Gravesend, Brooklyn. It was the last time they would be seen alive. With few clues and no witnesses, the case went cold. But for Anthony Brewer, the brother of one of the victims, the search never stopped. In 2024, he acquired evidence from the police that contained DNA samples that didn't match the teens. That discovery put his life and the life of his family in grave danger. Goosebumps, The Vanishing. All episodes now available on Disney Plus and Hulu on disneyplus.disney.com. Rated TV 14 LB.
So you want to find the key to happiness. Well, what if I told you to stop looking? Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all. Stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah. It is 7 in the morning. I woke up, showered, and I was ready to do this podcast episode. I was so ready to do this. And for a lot of reasons, right? For a lot of reasons, there's been a lot I've been thinking about in regards to the concept of happiness. If somebody was to ask me if I was happy, I would say I'm definitely not miserable, right? I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy. And then you think about, well, what is happiness, right? What does that mean? What does that look like? You know, a lot of times we tie happiness to external things. And I was thinking about that myself. I was like, what is my happiness tied to in life? What is it tied to? And, you know, sometimes we're like, yeah, if I had more money, if I had more this, if I had more this, I'd be happy. And you get those things and it's like, where is the happiness that I ordered? Where is it? What the hell? I ordered this years ago in my journal, in my prayers, right? I ordered this. This is supposed to be custom made. And it arrived and my happiness is still not attached to it. Why is that? Right? Why is that? And it's so funny. So I'll share this with you guys. There was a commercial that I auditioned for a couple months ago. Got a call back, everything. And I was like kind of waiting to hear from him, kind of not. But I became acquainted with somebody who was at the audition. And we just got to chatting because we had like similar backgrounds to a certain degree. And you know, kind of kept in touch, exchanged contacts, and from there, you know, we talked outside of the audition. So, fast forward, like a week went by, I never heard anything. I was like, yeah, I guess I just didn't get it. I was like, all right, cool. Out of sight, out of mind. So I decided it's so funny. Now this is all coming together. The other night, I pick one day out of the week where I don't work. Like, I try to have that boundary as to where Isaiah does not do any work on this day. This is Isaiah's day, right? And as much as I may want to do things, as much as guilt may be attached to not doing something sometimes, that is a boundary I had established for myself. And I've stepped over that boundary for the last couple of months just because there was like so much work I had to catch up on, right? So many things that I have that I'm juggling, that I want to get done, their timelines, all these things. So that day of the week where I don't work has been kind of non-existent. So anyway, I was debating if I was just going to go to the movies, right? That's one of my things. Love going to the movies, checking out a flick, and it's just my me time, right? I love doing that. And I was going back and forth about it. I was going back and forth. I was like, do I want to go? I was on the internet checking the reviews. I was like, it doesn't say it's that great. And I was like, I could just chill home. And I was like, Isaiah, bro, go somewhere. Go do something, right? You deserve to do something, right? You're always working. Always working. Go do something. And like 10, 15 minutes before the movie started, I got dressed. I was like, hey, yep, you know what? I'm going to just go. I'm going to just go, get out of the house, see this movie. I get to enjoy it or not, but it's an experience nonetheless, right? I get to go do this. I'm sitting in the movie. It's a pretty empty theater. I'm watching the previews. And sorry if the story is longer than it needs to be, but like it's just all kind of coming full circle as I talk to you guys about this. So I'm sitting in the movies, and I got there just as the previews were starting. And they show a commercial. And I realized that it was the commercial I auditioned for. The reason being is because it was a very particular commercial. It was like a holiday commercial. And I knew everything that was going on. And I saw one or two parts that I auditioned for. And I was like, man, I wonder who got the part. Finally, it gets to the role that I auditioned for. And it was my buddy that I met at the audition who got the role. Now, mind you, I haven't heard from him in God knows how long. And I was like, damn. I was like, that's dope. So that's who got the part. Awesome. Okay. And then in that moment, if you're an artist listening, if you're an actor, you know that feeling that comes when it's like you see that the project is still in motion without you. It's like a FOMO, right? And you see the person that booked the role. And you're like, oh, damn, was I not good enough? Or was it me? Was it something, right? Did I have spinach in my teeth? It's kind of that modality of like, oh, man, what did I do wrong that I wasn't right for the part? So that kind of came up. And instead of me trying to like push it away and do all these things, I asked myself, I was like, Isaiah, how can you transfer this energy? I was like, this is not about you. Who is it about? So I immediately text my buddy and congratulated him. Because if it wasn't me, I'm glad it was somebody that I knew. He's a good person, right? Which makes it even better because it's like, oh, this went to somebody who's a solid person, right? They got this. How awesome. How awesome is that, right? And so many thoughts went through my head, and I was just like, holy crap. And at the same time, I was like, oh, I'm happy. I'm happy for him, right? Life could still be going on, and if you have it in you, you still have the opportunity to be happy for other people, right? Even when it hits you a little bit, well, in this case, it was like closely associated, right? So that's one thing. But especially when like someone's doing well in life and you have nothing to do with it and their profession has nothing to do with you, nothing. It is very possible to just be happy for them. And being genuinely happy for another person just makes you happier, right? Because it's like we say we care about people all the time, and it's like, well, how do you care about people, right? Caring about somebody, anybody, looks like wanting to see them win, wanting them to be happy outside of you, right? Wanting to be happy outside of you. And instead of going into a deep existential spiral, because I felt it coming up, I was like, oh man, it's like, leaving Hollywood for good. I was like, that's it. All these things came up. I was like, no. Let me be happy for the person who got what they deserved. and be genuinely happy for that person. It was so great to see his face. I was like, holy crap. And I had wondered, like intuitively, I was like, I wonder if he booked it. Because we didn't hear from each other. Like I didn't hear from him after that. Like we kept in touch for like 2 days or something like that, but didn't hear anything. And that was months ago. And then to see him on the screen, I was like, no way. I was like, there we go. There we go. And I've been thinking about, I started reading this book. I don't have it around me, but it's like The Key to Happiness or something like that. And we hear a lot, guys. We hear a lot about what happiness is, what it should look like, what it does. I can honestly promise you, the last couple of days, since the clock has gone back, I've been waking up much earlier. So by design, I wake up at 5 o'clock. And this is before the clocks went back. I wake up at 5 o'clock. Finally, I'll wake up at 6, right? Lately, I'm still waking up at 5 o'clock because technically it's 6. And I'll get up, shower, and then I read and I journal. And I feel so happy about doing that. It makes me so happy to just have time to do that. It's really cool, y'all. I enjoy that so much. Right? I'm happy when I get to just spend time with my friends, whether it's virtual or in person. Obviously that makes anybody happy, right? But I'm really happy about that. I look forward to it. Right? I'm happy when I get to just sit down and draw for a little while. And it actually starts flowing. Like when my flow is in motion, oh man, that makes me so happy. And sometimes doing nothing without guilt makes me happy. Right? So I'm saying all this to kind of encourage you to think about what happiness is, right? What is happiness for you? Right? A lot of times we think, oh yeah, if I have a lot of money, I'll be happy. Well, you got to think about this. If you have a lot of money, are you the type of person that knows how to handle all that money? Yes or no? Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to spend that money in such a way that you are going to be even more miserable and stressed out, right? Let's say you do have money and you're able to support the life that you want, finances, right? Pay the bills, right? Because having expenses is stressful. Having the money to fund it, if that's a big point of contention, will alleviate a lot, right? Will alleviate a ton, right? And at the same time, depending on what you're working on within yourself, being able to pay those bills still will not translate to you being a happier person. Because there are more stressors that are going to come up. There are more fears and anxiety about losing that money that may come up, right? This is very superficial, but something that I am aware of, I have all these little milestones for myself. And, I always say, all right, cool. If I hit this certain amount of a goal, I'm good, right? And I hit that goal. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I want to hit this goal, right? I did it. Now I want to hit this goal. Okay. And it's cool to have goals. However, it's imperative to appreciate the goals you've already achieved. Looking at this year, y'all, honestly, in the grand scheme, I've accomplished a lot. Do I feel like that all the time? Absolutely not. I'm like, oh man, there's always more I can do. But if I was to give you guys a play-by-play on paper on what this year has been, how challenging it has been, how uncomfortable it has been, how scary it's been, how painful it has been, right? And still to kind of come out on the other side, I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. And it's funny because sometimes happiness will be met with sadness, because I think it's like when you finally hit certain pinnacles of just like peace or accomplishment, you look at what you've had to go through, you know, to get there. You look at who was there with you or who was not, that you may have wanted to be there with you, that you wanted to share your success with. And there's sadness that comes with that, right? Sometimes people are like, why am I sad? You know, I have all this stuff going on. Why am I sad? It's like, well, think about what it took for you to get here. You know, think about that. And ask yourself, do you feel like you deserve to be happy? Because if you feel like you deserve it, like, then just being happy even in the moment while things are going on is possible. And that's something that I was thinking about. The book I was reading, I'm trying to think about it without running to get the book, but it was just basically talking about like how you can be in the worst part of life right now and still essentially be happy. The reason why is because you're recognizing what's in your control and what's not. You also understand of like, what am I choosing to experience, right? And there's a difference between like toxic positivity, right? Or just like gaslighting yourself, versus just kind of making the choice of being like, you know what? I still deserve to be happy, right? Because when we are in a better state of mind, we can be a little bit more resourceful, solution based, right? We just kind of operate a little bit better. How we show up to the things that we have in motion is a little bit more effective, right? Our relationships feel a little bit better. All of this matters, right? Because I'll tell you, despite the not so good feelings that may have transpired this year, the not so good experiences that I've had this year, I'm like, you know what? There's been some awesome stuff to come out of it. Some really cool things to come out of it. And I'm so grateful for that. I really am. I really am. And I love the fact that I allow both to exist, right? Duality, y'all. I talk about this a lot because it really will keep you from being stuck. You know, my buddy booking that commercial, I'm like, damn, I didn't book it. But you know what? Somebody that I know, that to some degree I care about, and I want to see do well, they got it. And that's good, right? That makes me happy. So I think for you, it might be cool to just kind of explore literally what is happiness? What will it take for me to be happy? Okay, like what are my definitions of happiness? And if you're not happy, do something about it. Like I said, one of the things that made me happier was getting up, journaling, and reading books early in the morning. The reason why is because I get so caught up in my routine during the day, like between clients, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, between my clients, I'm going to read a couple of chapters of this book, or I'm going to study, or I'm going to do this. And then it's like, that's actually an opportunity for me to like mentally decompress, prepare myself for the next client, be fresh in mind, right? To be ready. So like the idea of reading and immersing myself into something else may not always be the most conducive for me. Right? So now I have time. Before my day starts, I start with reading and journaling. And then I go to the gym, right? And the gym has become so routine for me that I don't even realize that this is something that kind of keeps me going, right? I get to see some people that I really enjoy at the gym, right? That's also a part of it too. There's a social aspect to it. On top of me exercising and feeling good. Okay? Like happiness is I get what they mean when they say that happiness is a choice. And hearing it from me, I don't want you to hear that there's no such thing as not having problems in life. Take it from me, right? Take it from me. Like I said, life has been very challenging. Very challenging. Very challenging. Oh man, life has been. I won't say life has been because life is not conspiring against me, but I will say life has been very generous in terms of like the lessons. I say that all the time. Life has been very generous to me in terms of like experiences and lessons and perseverance, right? But also opportunities to just be happy while still working towards more, right? You can have both. You can be happy now and still be working towards more. That's what I'm doing. I'm always doing that, right? Finding moments of just peace while still trying to build more. Okay. And I want you to ask yourself now, how happy are you? Right? And if you're not happy, what is it that you're not happy about? If you could list it out, what does it look like? How happy are you with yourself as an individual? Right? That's a big one. Are you happy with who you are? It's funny when I look at myself, I'm like, yeah, I love this dude. He's dope. He's a cool guy. It's not perfect. Isaiah's not perfect by a long shot, but even more so, like, that's why he's cool. I'm not out here trying to be perfect, right? Just trying to do what I do and be me. And I think that's cool, right? And to see how much impact that contains, right? In a lot of ways. You know, it's so funny when I talk to just people, right? Or just like people who end up becoming clients. They're like, I've been watching your stuff for a while and you have helped me through life in such a big way. And the responsibility that comes with that, first of all, but also how much that reminds me, like, hey, you're doing something right. You're doing something right, and you're doing it right, and you're doing right by people you don't even know. And how amazing is that? Despite anything else, you're doing right by other people to the best of your ability. And I could always work to be better. However, I'm happy that I've been able to do this much. Determine what success means for you. What does success look like? For me, having successful, healthy relationships is very important to me. That's kind of like top tier. But having successful relationships in a way where it's like success to me means just healthy exchanges, right? Healthy community. Like that's big. Being able to share my wins and my woes with those people. That's success to me. And that makes me happy because I do feel like I have that, right? And it takes time to build. It takes time to build, and it may look different, right? It may start to change at some point. However, I think the blessing in it is to have some level of sustainability and foundation where even in the seasons of change, there are dynamics that shift, relationships that may shift. It's like, what is my goal and what is my intention? It's not just to have people around, but also have people with purpose, right? And create a very solid community. That makes me happy because I'm good at that. From the looks of it, I'm good at that. And I value that a lot. So that's success to me. Like, ask yourself, what is success? Ask yourself, what is failure? Right? What does failure look like? I always say I fell forward. I fell forward. Um, and that's just how I always think of it. Like, I really, there's always something I'm learning. And because I'm learning, there's nothing but inevitable growth. And you just keep going from there, right? You keep going. You fail forward. And if you're failing forward, you're never failing, right? You're just learning upward. You're learning upward, guys. And I think that's such an important key, right? You can have bad moments, but it doesn't make you a bad person. Yes? You can have moments of uncertainty. It doesn't mean that you are incapable. Okay? Self-doubt is there, but I think the more you believe that you deserve to be happy, you will challenge your doubts. I challenge those fuckers a lot. Pardon my French. But I challenge them a lot. They deserve, I deserve to have my doubts challenged, right? You know? Ask yourself, are you happy with your relationships? All of your relationships. Are you happy with them right now? If not, what can be done? Changing perspective, changing the company you keep, right? Changing yourself, right? What are you not working on? What are you refusing to let go of or kind of lean into, right? What level of vulnerability are you accessing to allow your relationships to grow, right? All these things matter, y'all. So I just want you to like really think about what happiness is, what it means. Like just really embody that and embrace it and see what comes up. But I woke up today happy because I was like, I get to record this podcast and we're talking about happiness and I get to talk about it in my way, right? Very real, but also like a very rewarding process if you just break it down. You know, be happy with the person that's showing up every day and trying their best to be better. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got. Sorry if this was so long. But I hope you guys have a happy day. I hope you guys have people that you can share your happiness with. I hope you guys have people in your life that you are happy to show up for and they are happy to reciprocate. Yeah. I hope you have people in your life that are happy to have you in theirs, right? And you guys just exist and you evolve and you grow. Like, I hope you have that because it is such a beautiful thing. Yes. Accepting clients still. I got a couple more slots. It's holiday season, so it's about to get crazy. So yeah, if you want some accountability and, you need a coach to work through the holiday season. Because I think within the next couple months, January gets very depressing for a lot of reasons. And I'll probably talk about that in another episode. But if you just need like a counter, right? You need a buffer. Book with me. The link is in the bio. And let's talk. Let's do the walking. Let's get through this holiday season unscathed. Let's get through life, right? A little bit better. But yes, shout out to all my subscribers. There might be some changes to the Patreon soon. Might be changing that really soon. But shout out to my Patreons. Shout out to my Apple subscribers. Spotify subscribers. Shout out to all you guys. I appreciate the love that you guys contribute and that you pour back into me. Yeah. With that being said, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be happy to be who you are. All right? Take flight.